This is not just another golf podcast. This is Golf Underground. This is Golf Underground. We just happen to be the third funniest podcast in golf. We interview PGA Tour pros, Hall of Fame athletes, rock stars, business leaders. Sure, we talk about golf, but we have fun. All right, let's do it. Welcome to Golf Underground. Now your hosts, Wardo, Sully, and MLB Hall of Famer, George Brett.
Welcome to Golf Underground, ESPN Kansas City. Here we are back in the stable. We're in the stable headquarters, also known as the Vault, which is going to be retrofitted into a putting studio here as well. So we're going to make this even more multi-use. Have a great guest today, Cary Cozby, one of the legends in the game. Known the name for several years. Had the honor last spring, to play with him at Whisper Rock with him and his brother, and just delighted. Quick background on Cary. Oak Tree Country Club, for those of you that know Edmond, Oklahoma, early on in the mid-90s, and then now ventured to Southern Hills and then jumped to Wichita Country Club up north. He was around the likes of Mr. Pete Kresnick, one of my good pals, who plays golf 3 times a day. And then now has been back at Southern Hills for how long now?
Getting ready to start my 12th season.
Awesome.
12th season, yeah.
So talk us through, I mean, we kind of know the story of the upbringing and the golfing family and the brothers,
right,
and the cool story. So talk us through kind of your upbringing and what led you to the great game and kind of the recruiting process.
It's great to be with you. And that was a fun time playing in the Whisper Rock member guest. That was actually a goal of mine in golf, to play in a member guest. So when I played with you guys, that was my first member guest I've ever played in my life. You know, I've worked about 1,000 of them, but it was a lot of fun to actually be on the other side of the counter, if you will, on that. But my brothers and I, Craig and Chance, we grew up in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. My dad was a club professional at Hillcrest Country Club, a really cool old Perry Maxwell golf course built in 1926. So we grew up around the game. I was born in San Antonio, and my dad was an assistant at Oak Hills down in San Antonio, where they used to have the PGA Tour, the Texas Open, which now is, you know, at the JW, wherever that, I forgot, not La Cantera, but the San Antonio TPC place. Yeah. So I was literally born right next to the range of Oak Hills. And then my parents, when I was little, moved to Bartlesville for his head professional job. And my dad was there for 41 years as a golf professional. So we were always around the game. We, like everybody back then, we played 4 sports: football, basketball, baseball, and played golf in the summer for the most part. And then as I got towards the end of high school, decided I wanted to play college golf, or wanted to give it a crack anyway, and kind of focus on that my last couple of years of high school. Played golf at Oklahoma. And then Craig and Chance we all 3 played at Oklahoma not the same time. I played with Craig for 2 years, and Craig played with Chance for 2 years, which was pretty cool from our family standpoint. Even though we grew up Texas fans, it's kind of weird for us to go be Sooners. But, you know, growing up in the state, it kind of grows on you. It's kind of what happens, right? And we had a blast doing that. I went out and tried to play right after I got done, just chased as many tours and state opens and things you did back then. It was just playing okay, and was looking for some winter work, and was talking to the guy that runs Oak Tree, the whole property back then. And he said, "Hey, you can do whatever you want. You can be a bartender, work in the bag room." I'm pretty good at bag room. I grew up doing that. So yeah, I know how to clean clubs and clean carts and pick the range well. But we have an assistant's job open if you want to interview for that as well. And I ended up doing that. And that was actually Oak Tree Golf Club. They call it Oak Tree National now, which was a blast. So if you're going to put your toe in the water with being on the club side, it's a good place to do it, because you got to play a lot of golf. We never had a tournament. It was just a really cool hang. And so as I was coming off playing, it was neat to be at a place that was a pure golf club, where you did a little work in the shop and then you go play golf with the members and then go fishing or something like that. But I was 25 or 6, and then had an opportunity to come over to Southern Hills to be an assistant here in 95. And as much fun as I was having at Oak Tree, I also knew that I needed to make sure there weren't any holes in my resume if this is what I was going to do for my career. Because, you know, this Southern Hills is busy. It's a true family country club. Just happens to have one of the world's best golf courses attached to it. It's kind of a way to say it. So all of our members are 8 or 9 miles radius from the club, big junior program, ladies program, men's programs, all the stuff. And was here for 5 years. And then I got the opportunity to be the head professional at Wichita CC So I was up there from 2000 to 2014, really the end of 2014 season, and then had the opportunity to come back here as the director of golf head professional at Southern Hills. So I've been pretty lucky in all four of those places that I worked, and just have, like I said, I've been really lucky on where I've been able to work and the memberships that I've been able to serve. And Wichita Country Club is one of my favorite places ever, and in spite of Kresnik. But
Taking shots.
by the way, my parting gift when I left Wichita CC was his club championship. He won the club championship my last year there, and he gave me the trophy. So I've got it in the golf shop office here. I'm down in our learning center right now. It's a little more quiet, but I've just started my 12th season here, and obviously being from Oklahoma, to be able to, I won't say Yankee Stadium in front of George, but this is kind of my Yankees job, being an Oklahoma guy and be able to drive in this place every day. It's pretty cool.
So speaking of rivalries, when you decided you were going to go to Oklahoma in the Texas family, I heard a little bit of this from Bubba when we played golf.
Yeah.
How did that go over when you decided that you were going to commit to the Sooners?
Not great with my parents, but all of their friends were Sooners. And, until about that time, if you opened the front door of our house where it pulled a string and played the Eyes of Texas. And I had a awesome trip to Norman. And then the next week or two, I went to Austin and didn't have a great trip. And I won't bore you with all that. Obviously, Austin's a great town. And at the time, OU was, significantly better as well, kind of on the rise. They'd finished in the top 5 in a few years in a row at the Nationals. And I really was enamored with how they treated their student athletes back then. Just, sitting at breakfast Saturday morning and seeing, people lined up on the street as the buses came in from Oklahoma City to bring the team in. I was like, man, this is really cool. And there's a cool feel about that and how they they expect to win in every sport. A lot of schools do. And I just loved it. I had a lot of friends that were going to school there. That my teammates, there was only one other guy from Oklahoma on the team. And coincidentally, is Bobby Mercer, his son, Yankees legend, played for 16 years and voiced it, or did the color for Yankees for a number of years before he passed away, way too young. So Todd and I were the only Oklahoma guys on the team my entire time until Craig came in. But when I got back from Austin, I said, I'm not sure. And they're like, oh, wow. And then I had to break it to my dad, the Oklahoma deal, because all their, I think it was more about their friends giving them a bunch of crap than it was us. They were really excited. My first year at OU Texas, which you guys know is a national holiday for the two states, my mom wouldn't cheer for OU. She couldn't cheer against the University of Texas, but she couldn't cheer against her son. She just sat there. She didn't cheer at all. But now, like within 2 years, she had like schooners painted on her face and OU earrings, and just a psycho woman about the Sooners. She'll still call, like, what's in the hell's going on with, that play calling or something like that. So she switched over hard, and as did my dad. But once everybody was going there, and they got to know the town and the school, they're all in. So
what's it like to run a busy country club, like you said, with an amazing golf course, and then you're going to go ahead and slap on having to deal with all the operations of a major championship? How do you do that?
The majors, those historically, we've had basically one every decade. There's a lot of planning and prep and stuff that goes on. The day-to-day at Southern Hills, a lot of our members host guests during the week. So we have a lot of guest play. It's one member plus 3 guests, a lot. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Weekends are actually kind of our easiest time because they don't bring guests until the afternoon, and they don't bring many. It's a lot of people flying in from around the country. So we have a great staff. We have a bigger staff than what people historically have been used to, just because of the amount of time that we're here. And we're closed on Mondays, but we have 8 golf professionals. We have a director of instruction who just simply is in this building. He's here teaching. It's cold out, and somebody's hitting balls on the other side of the wall here. We've got a great outside service staff. We've got 3 managers out there. There's a lot going on. And I would say, I get just peer, like, what's the toughest part about your job? The toughest part of what we do is to try to make this place feel intimate and small. And it's not. It's, we're upper 30s, close to 40,000 rounds. We have 27 holes. What we call the Champ is the course everybody knows. On the other side of the entry drive, we have our West 9, which is a core Crenshaw 9. It's a great 9 holes. And so between those two, we're 38 to 40,000 rounds, 3,000 hours of instruction, 100 plus club events, junior golf programming, probably 150 days, scattered throughout the year of that. And just a busy place. Obviously, a lot of people in the shop, and everybody that goes to eat, on that side of the clubhouse is coming through the pro shop to get there there's always something going on. I love the game. Like as soon as, if you said, hey, we're done, I'd practice till dark. I could go like to our short game area and just have a couple Diet Cokes and a peanut butter and honey sandwich. And I could go there till sundown every single day and just chip and putt and go play golf. So I like being around people that having fun playing golf. And so it makes my job much easier. I know people talk about the hours and the weekends and the things of that nature, but if you're going to be good at anything, it's not 40 hours. I dig everything we do. It is busy. I tell new assistants who are coming in, hey, this place is like a treadmill that's on a super high pace. So when you come in, you put your stuff down, you got to grab the rails, get your legs up to speed, or it's going to throw you right in the wall. You got to be ready to go, but it's a great, great place to work. The membership's incredible.
Cos, do you think, oh, by the way, Wade Benfield with the Golf Stable here joining.
Yes, sir.
Do you feel like your experience as an assistant at Southern Hills kind of helped ease, or you feel a little bit more prepared with the day-to-day when you came back to take over as director of golf? It wasn't quite the intimidating monster per se, even though you'd been a director or a head pro at Wichita Country Club. Just
Yeah,
you were very familiar with the place when you assumed that role.
That's a great question. And yes, because I knew the pace. I knew what the expectations were from the club standpoint, the membership standpoint, but also just how busy we were. Still, the most rounds we've ever played in 1 year was in 1998, right when the U.S. Open was announced. Back when they didn't announce them 25 to 30 years in advance, we found out I think in 97. So 98 was one of our busiest year rounds wise on the championship course we'd ever have. So I knew what the pace was going to be and was prepared mentally to do that. But you're right. Anybody that, especially an assistant that starts in the spring, we've got one that's going to start in May that we just had some change with some guys getting head professional jobs. And they're going to look up and it's going to be Christmas because they're not going to know it hit him when this guy starts in May. And he knows it. He was an intern here, but it's going to be boom. And, it's the end of the year. So anyway, that answers your question.
No training wheels.
No, it's a fire hose right to the face and just get after it. So we'll talk at the end of the year.
Sounds like Kansas City Country Club got one of your good ones.
He's great. They're going to love him. He checks all the boxes of what I think you need to have as a great golf professional. He's a great player, 2-time player of the year in our section. Didn't play in college, could have played some smaller college and ended up going to Mississippi State for the PGM program and worked his tail off to become a good player. He's an awesome teacher, stays up on, he taught a lot here. He's good at everything. And he's nice and he's friendly and he understands service. He's smart. He's really, really good. They killed it. They're going to love him. He's young too. They're going to have him a while.
He's going to have some energy.
Yeah, he's going to have some energy for sure. And by the way, his wife is way better than he is. So she's a PGA member. She worked for us as well in a different role. And they met when they were interns here. Yeah, as good as he is, she's better.
You've clearly done one heck of a job over the years of really helping young men become into themselves and really grow. What does it take and how have you promoted so many people to get to these new opportunities or these next levels?
Well, thank you. I don't know if I consciously thought about it early. It was more about finding people that were fit to kind of go at the pace and give the experience that I really wanted to do. When I got to Wichita Country Club, I was so excited. I was 30 and ready to, not be Cary Cozby's kid, in the business. So it's something to kind of motivate you a little bit, even though I had incredible advantages of being his son when it came to the club, because Craig and Chance and I are all in 3 different parts of the golf industry. Mm-hmm. But the lessons that we learned from how he did his job there, and of course from my mom as well, but it helps us every day. And I think if you ask Craig or Chance, they would say the same thing and probably provide you some examples. As far as the development goes, and obviously there's been some others that didn't get through or didn't make it, that weren't great fits, or didn't want to do what we do, because I want our golf operation to be the best golf operation in the country. And it's my actually competition now. I don't get to play as much competitive golf. And so I kind of channel that piece of me into like, hey, every day we've got to be the best. And your dues at a club aren't paid different in January when it's cold than it is in June when it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And so the expectation is that every day. So that's something that probably the ones that stick with it resonates, right? And then they can bring value to a club because that level of service. And because the one thing we know for sure is that first class is never going to go to south, no matter how bad the economy, anything is going on. Like, discerning people are going to still spend their discretionary income on something that's better and there's value to it. So we want to bring value to the club and how we do every single thing. So everything is tied for first. I always say that, I could probably slip junior golf into 1A slot. Everything else is tied for first, just from a growth of game standpoint, that they're keeping people in the game. But we try to do everything at a high level. And the assistants that buy into that philosophical approach, and when they leave, they go apply that somewhere else, and then they're successful. And then that kind of, people see guys getting jobs and getting good jobs, and then they apply. Like we had 3 guys in 3 weeks get head professional jobs this past November, December, which is not normal. So we've been hitting the portal hard for, for the assistants, but we didn't post a job anywhere, right? People just started applying, which is a great thing to have, because they see what Cameron is done, or Corey Leffler, who went to Hickory Hills in Springfield. Yeah. So I get those wrong sometimes, but they fill in, like they go, okay. So what happens is a Cameron Chim leaves to go to Kansas City Country Club, and somebody sees an assistant professional getting that kind of job. Then the other assistants around the country are trying to get they want to get that spot, and which is nice. But I say that we want to be the best. And the other part that I always tell them is we're going to have fun doing it. So like, I'm not a maniacal guy throwing crap around the office or getting mad if something happens that's not great. It's not a big deal. It's just a way to, let's talk about it. Let's get better. Just trying to be really good at what we do. And we can use this platform too of Southern Hills. Obviously, the name is going to get you in a good pile most of the time. But what we try to say, we want to take advantage of having this great golf course and this great, if we deliver a great experience, every single person who comes on this property is going to be the next person who is on the search committee at some club. And so they have to understand they're interviewing every single day. You can't take a day off, you can't take a play off, you can't, all those things. Like, hey, you just got your ass chewed by somebody. The next person walking in is coming here to have fun. And you've got to be able to compartmentalize that, ditch it. We'll figure it out. We'll get better later.
And it's like when these kids are asking us as coaches or whatnot to go put their name out there to vouch for them when they're going to ABC school, or maybe they're a tweener, right, and they don't, wherever they fit. And it's same thing there. You can't take a play off or a day off, or you got to, because if you put your name on something that ultimately doesn't work out, the next time they ask you for something, it's like, well, yeah, that one didn't work. So
no, right. No, I mean, they got to be committed for us to support, right? But the guy that got the Springfield Hickory Hills, he did a Zoom call, and one of the guys said, I played there about 2 years ago. He talked about when he dropped his clubs off the bag drop, our staff grabbed him, and he said his clubs had been dirty from traveling or something like that. And the simple thing of just part of what we do is, like, if you came here to play, we're taking the guests to get to their member, probably up in the grill. Our outside staff grabs your clubs, and they're going to clean them. They're going to check, make sure everything's good, and clean them before they put on the cart with the member. Seems pretty simple, right? But it doesn't happen everywhere. That's what that guy remembered. And he's all of a sudden, he's on the search committee. And those things resonate with people and how you make them feel while they're on property. So that's kind of what our goal is. We want members, when they drive out of this place, go, man, I'm glad I'm a member of this place, and guests wishing they could be at a place like this. That's our goal.
Thanks for joining the Golf Underground. Now, the Golf Underground is brought to you by Star Companies, KC. Experience a more energy efficient and comfortable home with Star's insulation services. Regal Distributing, specializing in the distribution of food service and professional cleaning supplies to a variety of industries. Cowell Insurance, providing brokerage and risk management services for over 25 years. Sono Orthopedics, care plans backed by research and clinical results tailored perfectly to individual needs. Bob Sight Ford and Bob Sight Independence Kia, where you'll score a double eagle on your next car or truck. Lewisburg Ford, nobody sells more F-150s than Lewisburg Ford. And Celebrity Greens, put a custom PGA caliber putting green in your backyard for the ultimate golf experience. Now, onto the program.
So shifting gears, I think I heard the story. Tiger showed up for a practice round and requested you. So,
well, I got a call from David Charles at the PGA to say, I need you to run point on something. We got to keep it under wraps. And I was like, yeah. It's like April. So he said, Tiger'd like to come in and play a practice round. Is that all right? And I was like, are you asking me? Like, of course he can do it. He can stay at my house if he wants to. I mean, he can have it. Yeah. He connected me to Rob, his, kind of the guy, his handler, so to speak. And he's really his teacher, it looks like, too. What do you need? We need a couple caddies. And he said, we loved, I said, hey, I'd be happy to do it. And that way I could kind of keep it quiet. And he said he'd love that because we want to know the golf course changes and walk through all that. And then I said, I've got a son that loves to play and he can caddy for you. And he said, that'd be perfect. So the two of us, I didn't tell Banks or my wife until the night before. It was about 10 days before. And so I told my wife the night before, and she was initially kind of hot. And then like, what, I can't believe I didn't tell her. And then the next morning, she's like, I'm glad you didn't tell me. I didn't sleep a wink last night. I was like, yeah, that's why I didn't tell you. And then I told Banks that morning of, and they were actually just by half a chance. He was on the Team Oklahoma PGA Junior League team that had just played the previous fall at Scottsdale, and they lost in the semis. They had a really good team, and they were out here filming a promo ad for that with Cameron Young. So I told Banks in like a little break, I said, hey, have you checked your phone? He goes, no. And I said, look at it. And he goes, is he coming here today? I said, yeah. He goes, am I going to meet him? I said, oh yeah, you're going to meet him. Here's what we're doing. And he fell over, but it was surreal. Like, I grew up watching this, what I consider the greatest golf I've ever witnessed. And I know the argument with he and Nicholas, but like just watching how he dominated, how he played was just so fun. And so to carry his clubs for 18 holes, just the four of us. And then our general manager walked around. Of course, the membership was great, but there was a gallery on every hillside when he came around the greens. There's news helicopters flying around. It was kind of funny, but the highlight, we didn't take our phones out, but I was throwing a water bottle away. And I looked up and Banks and Tiger are walking down the 14th hole, which is a par 3. And I was like, well, I got to take a picture of that. So I pulled my phone out and took a picture of the two of them walking. And then on 17, we had the whole location sheets from the senior PGA, and we were putting tees down where they were. And he was just putting to those. And I was on the far right side of the green with his CFO who was walking with us. They were on the way to like Tiger Jam in Vegas, and they stopped here and then flew out that night. And Banks was over watching Tiger putt. And that's why I said, hey, listen, we get to watch the best to ever do it. We concentrated like we were playing. It was really cool. Like every shot, we basically got either, caddy view or down the line just so he could just watch it and see what he's doing. And Banks, as a kid that loves golf, just to see that firsthand. And of course, for me, like taking the putter cover off of that, seeing that putter and like having your hand, like it was nerve wracking, to do that. But on 17, Banks is watching him. He goes, all right. He calls Robin when he's kind of needling him. He said, Robin, putting closer to the tee over by the pro. Banks, you got to get in this, but you can't use that piece of shit 2-ball that Robin used. You got to use my putter. And I should have videoed that because Banks holding the crippler of 2 generations of golfers, that putter that he had or has. So Tiger putts, rolls it up there about 3 feet. Rob misses by like 10 feet. He's short and low. And the Banks grabs it. And at the time, he was putting cross-handed. He grabs Tiger's putter, and I'm on the other side of the green. And Tiger looks at him and goes, Banks, what are you doing? And Banks, looks up and like all the blood rushes out of his face. And he goes, nobody's ever used my putter with a cross-handed grip. I mean, now he's like shaking. And he slaps him on the shoulder and pretty colorful language. He said, hey, I'm just messing with you. And he goes, let's see it. And he takes it and he rolls it up to like 2 feet. And he's like, oh my God, you should have been playing all day, Rob. You should have been caddying for Banks and the whole 9 yards. And I wish I would have videoed just the putting stroke with that putter in his hand, but it's a great memory. And then he finished on 18 and there's 300 people behind the 18th green, He's throwing balls out of the cart as he's going right to his car. And then went straight never went to the clubhouse or anything, but right to the airplane and to Vegas. But it was cool. And Banks got paired with Charlie later that fall in a tournament in Florida, and which was probably even better to like Banks having to play in front of Tiger caddy for Charlie and I caddy for Banks. And there's another kid in there. And my heart rate on the first tee, knowing my kid's going to, you're nervous anyway with your kid, and having the cat sitting right there on the tee, it was amazing. I'll show you a video of it sometime. And they all 3 hit good drives. And he walked over and handed me his driver. He goes, I can't feel my arms. I said, well, you did a pretty good job of hitting a good shot. And he played really good that day. And we got back to the room, and it's in Howie in the Hills, like in the middle of horse country, Florida. And he had a Whoop on at the time. And he's like, guess what my heart rate was on number 1 tee? And I said, well, mine was about where I needed an AED. Yeah. So what was yours? And he said 174. I said, oh my gosh. And then he goes, where do you think it was where it was like the lowest? I said 5T. He goes, how'd you know that? And I said, because I watched you just kind of, your temperament, you kind of settled in. And then, man, you were about as free as I've seen you ever on 5T. That was probably better. And he actually put his arm around Banks. And at the end of the day, he said, hey, dude, you keep playing. this is all, you're going to do great, which was huge. And the next morning, Charlie had not played well. And the next morning on the putting green, Banks was putting, and I went to get the cart key and some waters and stuff like that, and came back to take him to the range. And he goes, "Hey, Tiger just talked to me." I go, "Tiger talked to you this morning?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What did he say?" He goes, "Hey, B, go win this thing." I go, "Seriously?" He goes, "Yeah." And I go, "That's awesome. You need, and Banks didn't play very good that day. Charlie played really good that day. I think his low round at the time. He's really good, by the way. Charlie is. And he didn't play good. And he's kind of pissed off in the parking lot. And we're talking about it. And I said, "Hey, this is a win." And he's like, "How's it a win? I didn't qualify for," it was no to Begay's tournament down in Louisiana. Yeah. I said, "You played 18 holes in front of the most intimidating golfer. There's no question on the most intimidating golfer, right?" And I said, "You flourished, right? Dude, you played awesome in front of him. I think you probably just ran out a little steam today emotionally. He played okay, then he kind of played late, didn't play great." And I said, "You're going to look back, and you stand on the first tee of some tournament, you're never going to be more nervous than you were right then." And with Tiger standing there watching you hit a shot. I mean, there's tour pros that crumble with him on the tee. So I said, "We're going to look back on this as a great thing from your golf standpoint and nerves and things like that." Those 2 days were as cool as something I've ever done, especially as a dad.
Just a kind of a follow-up for me on the practice round with Tiger. I remember the PGA at Southern Hills where he shot that 62 and a half.
Right, right.
And, with a putt on 18 lips out, and nobody shot below 63 in a major. So kind of what was he like picking your brain about the Reno and the new course routing and design, or just kind of like, hey, what's a little bit different from here?
He recalled every shot he hit, and he recalled the golf course as it was.
It doesn't show.
And I was like, he knew every single thing. And he said the putt on 8 is where he tweaked his knee. That was 07. And then the one that kind of led to where it broke or whatever it did, because he stepped in an irrigation head. And he walked over there and looked at it. Of course, it's different now. It wasn't in the same location. The irrigation head wasn't. But he recalled everything. And then he asked questions on every tee and every hole what was different. And he was like, the 10th hole is vastly different than what it was when he had played it in 07. The fairway is much wider. It runs, but the further you get left towards the creek, the better the angle you have to get up into the green. It's a way easier shot than on the right side of the fairway. And I said, "Hey, I think you may want to try to get over to the left." So we walked over to the left side to where I said the wind is normally going to be coming right here. And I said, "Just when you get up on the seat of the green," and he was like all over it. "Rob, we got to make sure we get this in the book. We have to be left of this bridge," so on and so forth. So he was very inquisitive. The thing that really amazed me was like, he didn't look like he changed anything in his setup, and he hit all these different windows. He didn't miss one drive left of where he's aiming it the entire day, or one tee ball. He'd hit some weak out to the right, and he'd drop another ball, and he'd hit the next one would be good. But he could fly without, then, like you normally see somebody and you could tell they're getting ready to hit it lower or higher or whatever. And there was no change. Like he just did it. And like he was hitting this kind of longer iron, souped up kind of long iron. It wasn't his normal head design. It was a TaylorMade. And he hit a ball on 13 and it went higher than they wanted to do. And Rob goes, "I think with that shaft, you don't have to try to get it up. Just see what it looks like stock." I just threw a ball down. By the way, it was a ball I'd found. I just pulled one out of the caddy and threw it down. He's like, "No, that's the wrong ball." It's like, yeah, okay, dumbass me. So and then he just like one waggle and just rip. And it was like 25% flatter coming out. It was like, so it was really cool to watch him hit the shots. And Rob was definitely his eyes. They were looking at stuff in the golf swing. It was a super windy day too. Like he hit a 3-wood on 8, par 3, that looked like an 8-iron into the wind. And then he stands up on 9 and hits a 5-wood right into like a 20-25 mile an hour wind that looked like a 2-iron. He just like, it was really amazing just to see. Even that was 22. He was whatever age he was, upper 40s, mid 40s for sure, and beat up with all the injuries and just like total savant. It's amazing.
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Well, you got any stories or things like, what would the common golf fan not know about the behind the scenes of kind of running a major championship or major championship week?
My favorite part of the whole, there's a lot of meetings, and I'm not a huge meeting, or if they're productive, that's one thing. We just like to have a meeting just wears me out. So there's a lot of meetings there, but to have something that big, you got to just keep grinding on and make sure everything's dotted, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. The fun week is the pre-week. So that week before, we closed like April 15th, and the tournament, I think the first round of the practice round was May 16th. And so we had like a month where there wasn't, we were grooming and growing. The build out for all the structures was flying around. But basically that Monday before the first practice round, the golf course is primo. So everything's done. All we're doing is mowing again there. But like everything has to be fine. I bet there were 2,500 people on property working outside the ropes, trying to get everything dialed in. I mean, like down to like getting stuff in the coolers in every one of the chalets and all the different food and beverage opportunities around the club, and seeing that all kind of come together, because there's like anything, there's so many things that have to come together at the last second or just as time. So that week before is amazing, because we went, basically they go live at like 3 or 4 o'clock on Friday before. It means they turn all the generators on, all the lights come on, all the fridges start cooling off beers and Cokes and all that stuff. And so everything had to be done then. It was just fun to see all these people making it happen, down to sorting golf balls on the range is what we were doing. Our responsibility was just the players. There was a practice areas. So we handled the short game areas, the practice range. Our section was helping us a little bit too, but we really wanted our staff to do it. So we'd know that it would be nails and give them a little bit of the Southern Hills experience that we could. My role that our general manager asked me to do is like, hey, obviously make sure that the range and everything we're doing is taken care of. But if you would help, like just going by the members who had corporate hospitality areas, and just kind of, I just thought I had a route. I just would, once we were good here, I'd go hit this group of chalets over on 12 and 13, and everyone I didn't go the ones I didn't know who it was, but if it was a member, I'd pop in there and just make sure everything was kind of where they wanted it, and then go back to practice. And the shop was closed. The golf shop was empty. It's right on the first tee. I had somebody tell me, John Paul Hebert, that UNLV coach, was here one time. He said, you can always tell a great golf course when you can fall off the roof and land on the first tee. That's usually a great sign of you're at a special place. So our shop is right on the first tee. It was closed to players and caddies. So the caddies were kind of hanging out in there with their bags, and obviously the locker room's right next door. But the week was super fun to be a part of it. It was really the most fun was that pre-week. That's when everything has to come together. And so that was a great experience, just to watch and see how Kerry Haig and that crew does it. You got TV, you got everybody here. It was a really fun couple weeks.
Love it. So talking through kind of the attention to detail and the outside services and the ops, like,
right,
where does that come from? I obviously do. And I know, like, I've seen the things and some tools and resources that obviously Jeff King learned during his time at Southern Hills, but where does that come from? And like, how do you make that the gold standard so that those people have that great experience day in and day out?
Well, my dad was very detailed. There's no gray area in his world, and the details were super important to him. So I kind of learned that. My brothers and I learned that in everything we do. Like the car had to always be the one I drove, Craig drove, and then Chance drove. We all drove the same thing, and it had to be spotless. It was a Jeep. Jeep should be dirty. That thing had to be sparkling clean. So we learned the detail side there. Dave Bryan, who I worked for here, was very similar in what the standards were here. And so those over time, like down to like how you put the pencil in the cart, it's logo out. Sandballs are always full. Sandballs aren't pointed in different directions. They're always pointed in the same. Everything is the way we do it. And I expect that. Every day when I get here, I do 3 things. I tour what I'm responsible for. I'm going to check the club cleaners. How many times you guys been to a really good facility and you're on the practice tee and you go over to put your wedge in the club cleaner and the water's like halfway down and it smells like
80% of the time?
Right. So we change the water every 2 days, and we have Dawn dish soap in there too. So the water's initially it's hot and it's above the brushes at all times with soap in there. That's the old club cleaner rack room guy in me. But I tour what I'm responsible for. So everything in the golf ops that I've got to make sure is good is what I do. I check all the tickets from the previous day, just kind of looking through, write thank you notes to people that have maybe spent a little more than normal in the shop, and just make sure that everything's good. I check, the play tickets from cards and guest fees and all that stuff. And then I check the tee sheet for today. And I go through that, and, I'll highlight maybe somebody that I need to follow up with something on, or a different color for like guests. I try to touch every group that's on the property, which is a real challenge. I don't get it, but if I can touch them, whether it's in the parking lot, the pro shop, the first tee, or on the golf course, that's kind of my goal, especially if you've got some guys in from, members got some guys from coming around the country. We try to help them be we don't know what's going on, but we want to help them make it a great day so they have these great memories of Southern Hills and Tulsa. But so I do those three things: tee sheet, tickets, and tour every single day. And part of that is making sure clubs are clean and the standards are there. And, tee mark on the bottom of a 7-iron. I'm going to grab a wet rag and clean it. And they see me doing it. They're obviously going to start grabbing wet rags and checking them as well. So we check them every day, and that's how we keep it the way we do.
So good. So good.
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance claim and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
What's up, Underground? Sully here with a message from our friends over at Bob's Site. Now, buying a new vehicle can be a bit like buying a new set of clubs, which means when you want to drive the ball straight, you seek advice from experts, golf pros like our boy Wardo. And when it comes to buying your next car or truck, you also need expert advice so that you drive away in style. Well, you now have options with the Site family's expanded dealership, now including Honda and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Lawrence, Kansas. And they're there to guide you to the perfect vehicle. With a commitment to exceptional service and a real passion for helping each customer, they're like the trusted golf pros of the auto world. And they're ready to analyze your needs and match you with your ideal ride. So step into bobsite.com or visit their Lawrence locations. Experience the difference of a team that's dedicated to helping you navigate your options, ensuring you drive off with confidence and satisfaction. Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Whitty from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you get a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town who've had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love. And we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them, make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the three things that separate you: number one, best training; number two, you specialize in getting people on that field; number three, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brett, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the number one F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing. Unparalleled customer satisfaction and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Wade, you got anything else for him before we hit him with the rapid fires? This is going to be a good rapid fire.
Oh gosh. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious a little bit about kind of the process and the strain of undergoing a major renovation to a golf course.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. So we had Gil Hansen that came in, did a master plan for the course. We closed down in August of 18 and reopened basically June of 19. It was really fast to get on it. We touched every part of the golf course. We didn't, maybe not the fairways, but greens, bunkers, tees, surrounds, all that stuff got changed back to kind of what it was. And the practice areas all were gutted, which was a lot of fun for me too, to spend some time with Gil doing that. We have 3 greens that are replicas of greens on the golf course. So an area we call the triplets, which is kind of a private little short game area, is replicas of holes 2, 10, and 13.
That's really cool.
Which is, I mean, that's where I would go, like literally, or like you would never want to leave the place. It's incredible. So everything got touched. Gil and our staff, they're doing all the work there. The thing that I think is important from where we sit was like, we're taking their toy away. Right. We talked about it before we closed, like, hey, listen, everything's great right now and it's green lights and everybody's having fun. But when this course closes, they can't practice and they can't play their golf course. I go, now we're going to get a little more critical eye. So we have to make sure we keep getting better. We can't miss, right? We've got to be really on point with everything we're doing while we're closed, just because that's human nature, right? Like, oh man, I'm going to look for something negative versus like you pick your favorite restaurant. It's always they probably serve you a bad meal every once in a while, but because the service is so good and the atmosphere is so good, you probably give them a pass. And so when you take the golf course away, all of a sudden, one of those 3 elements is really changed. So that's probably the biggest challenge. I really worried about that. I knew the project was going to be great and we were going to exceed the expectations when it was over, because people were focused on the course. They didn't know what we were going to do with like our new teaching facility and the range and the short game areas, and a 90-year-old club to have the practice areas we do. We're super blessed. Like I'm just talking using Mission Hills, they're landlocked on the practice range. We've got a double end, 380 yards from one end to the other, wide. We've got 70 slots. We could put people out here if we need to. We're lucky in that regard. But yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge, was just making sure that we understood that their toy was being taken away from them for basically a year, and we needed to be really good at what we do on everything else. Traveling, getting them set up to play golf everywhere else, stuff in the golf shop, stress from what to buy without any rounds. It wasn't a lot of fun. But anyway, that and getting to work with Gil was cool. He's a cool dude. Really cool dude.
How do you manage? This is one that I don't like asking a lot, but you do this every day. But how do you manage the inbound requests from fellow PGA pros? Like, that is a full-time job in itself.
It's funny you said that.
And a balancing act, I guess.
No, because Cameron Chim, who's the guy at Kansas City Country Club now, his wife, Brianna, when she came to work for us full-time, she came back as our golf shop administrator. And one of the things that happened over time is the need for that position in the golf operation, because between the people that are trying to gain access here, like you said, with PGA Professional trying to get members on, or Golf Digest panelists, or Golf Magazine raters, or whatever, and then our members who are wanting to gain access elsewhere, right? It is a full-time job. That was what Bree I'm trying to hire that position right now. I'm dying because I've probably got 15 members that I'm trying to help in the United States and Cabo. And I've got not many people trying to get in here right now because it's January, but the members are traveling. And it's not like you can just pick up the phone in 5 minutes, you're done. It requires a bunch of back and forth. And I've received 3 emails today, one from Medalist, one from Bighorn. So it's like, since we've been on the phone, just kind of doing that. So yeah, there's a lot of that. my value to the club is not on a computer. And so what that position would do is in the morning, Bree and I would go over where we are and like, okay, I've got to make the call on this one, and she can make the call on this one. And she got to know where a lot of the pros that we were hitting up a lot. It seemed like Scottsdale, Palm Springs, Monterey Peninsula. She was able to kind of do those. There's a lot going on there to make that happen. And even if the answer is no, they deserve an answer quicker than I was able to give it previous to having that position. And the other thing too is that our members, if they have guests that are traveling, which is like 85% of our guest play is not from Tulsa, they can book outside the 1 week window. They've got some smaller windows they can book in outside of that, but that job is bigger than the other ones combined because we've got a lot of, like, we've got stuff on the books for October. In fact, one of the emails just popped through here a second ago is a member that's got some guys from Congress that are going to be here either October 6th or October 13th or something, and trying to figure out those days. There's a lot of that going on already. That's different than when my dad was doing it. And it's different than when Jeff and I were assistants together here. It just didn't happen. But yeah, that's a big piece of the job.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the Sheridan's Unforked, Eating Good, Feeling Good rapid fire? I'm coming at you.
I guess.
Quick answers, and we'll have some fun with this.
All right.
All right. Best ball striker you've ever been around?
Not named Tiger?
Sure.
Yeah. Probably Craig, my brother. Yeah.
I'm just going to have him next week when he comes in. I'm just going to
just have hit balls. Yeah, he'll be ping man for you. But he'll poor boy it. He'll act like, I don't even have a set of clubs. I don't play. You remember the girl you had like in like sixth grade? She flunked the test.
Yeah.
I flunked that test. She made like a 94.
Yeah.
Like if I said I flunked the test, I flunked the test.
Yeah.
Right? Craig he's a poor boy. So he's going to act like he just can't play, never plays. He practices. He sneaks out after a demo day. He hits shots. Yeah. From that standpoint, probably him.
Love it. You got somebody who's putting a 10-footer for you to win a major other than Tiger?
Oh, man.
If it's that
any generation?
For a sink.
It's not
What's
Retief.
that?
It's not
Retief.
Southern Hill.
Not Retief. Yeah, not Retief here. God, 10-footer. I mean, hard to argue with Nicholas. He may seem like he made everyone he needed. I'm choking on that. Who would that?
Scotty with a mallet.
Scotty with a mallet.
People act like Scotty was like, he was a great putter in juniors and college when he first got on tour. And he just had a little bump in his, for a year or two. That guy's a great putter. So it's not like he's a crappy putter that's turning himself into a decent putter. He was once a great putter. So I think he'll be great on that.
He obviously 12 feet on every hole. You're going to probably put a lot of stress on your putting.
Yeah.
There's not a lot there. It's incredible watching him do it. Nicholas to make a 10-footer, obviously not, Tiger did it. Scheffler's, he's wired like those cats. He obviously, just from watching it, that he is. Yeah. I thought you were asking maybe in the family, it's going to be me. Greg can hit it. I can putt it. So
let's go. I watched it, and you can also hit it. Best favorite track in the country other than Southern Hills?
I have been lucky to play. I got to play Augusta. I've been able to play Pine Valley a few times in Cypress. Augusta is so cool just because of everybody knows every hole. And that was a lot of fun. I'd say a tie between Augusta and Cypress. I mean, Cypress is like a religious experience, watching like just how the whole build up and you kind of bank around and all of a sudden you get a little more glimpse of the ocean, then you walk on to 15 tee and 16 tee. It's the Sistine Chapel of golf. It's hard the beauty of that place is really jaw dropping.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Would you rather deal with Diva Tour pros coming in to play your course for a major championship or dues paying members day in and day out?
Diva pros are way more difficult than dues paying members for the most part. So no, I don't have many issues on. Of course, the tour pros aren't here very often, but everybody thinks, oh, it's tough. You got 900 bosses, and I don't ever look at it that way. Just like we try to treat people. Golden rule. I tell my kid every day before he goes to school. Golden rule, have a great day, but make sure the golden rule is applied. And we try to do that here all the time as well. So our membership's pretty easy. They were easy at Wichita Country Club. Everybody talks about, obviously there's certain people that are tougher than others, but if you treat people nice and you anticipate and you're aware, you can diffuse some of those. I always took it as a little bit of a challenge. If a guy was a challenge, how can I get this guy to kind of loosen up? And there's an art to that, but everybody likes having fun. So it's not that hard.
For sure. Yeah. Your brother, it's dinner time at your brother's house. What's your favorite thing he makes?
Oh, man. Our mom we didn't know it at the time. She's really a chef. And if I said, hey, the three of us are going to come play 9 at Hillcrest and come by the house for a drink, she would have a spread of food that you're like, there's just no way she had this. How did that even happen? I tell you what, he's obviously great, but like breakfast is off the charts. And we don't ever even ask him for anything. We usually go out to see Banks, and I'll go see Ping, and James Seekman is Banks' primary coach, so I can be dad more than coach. And we'll go out in December to make sure get his clubs all checked out at Ping, and we'll stay with Chance for a couple of nights. And we always look forward to seeing what he's going to make that next morning for breakfast. Even if he's out the door for a meeting, because it's getting pretty close to waste management time, there'll be something wrapped up in foil, and it's either a breakfast sandwich or breakfast tacos, or he's good at it. He's good at everything. If he's having it there, we had this the Banks' high school team last year when we were there for President's Day week, and we went to his house and he cooked dinner, and he made short ribs, but he had this like jalapeno dip that like was crack. I mean, you couldn't quit eating it, so that everybody went to bed pretty quick after that. But anything he does is good. That's for sure.
So good. All right, we'll hit you with one more. I've got a pretty good idea who this is going to be, but dream foursome. And if you need to extend it to a fifth, we can do that as well, and sprinkle in a caddy.
You got it. Well, the family one would be my two brothers, my dad, who we lost in 2020, and of course my son, Banks. The five of us to play golf anywhere would be great if we could do it. We had a good family match the day after Christmas, before Banks was even around. Craig, and the family match was always Craig and I versus Chance and my dad. At the time, my dad was better than all of us, and Chance was the youngest, so that was kind of the fair match. And we've had some bloodbaths, as you might have guessed on that. Celebrity wise, I'd probably go I'd go Tiger, Clint Eastwood, Robert Earl Keen. Those three guys, I don't think they'd even know each other, but I'd go Tiger, Clint Eastwood, and Robert Earl Keen. Or if it's tour pros, I'd probably do Seve, Tiger, and Jack. I was a Seve fan growing up.
You've been asked this one before.
Yeah. No, I just was thinking about it. Yeah, so just the family side's easy, but the celebrity, I love Clint Eastwood, love music. Robert Earl Keen's one of my favorite guys. We've been listening to a lot of John Mayer recently. Just he's a talented dude. They're totally different type of music than Robert Earl Keen, of course, and just love watching Tiger hit shots. That golf is incredible.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Are you going to get the start for the Whisper Rock deal again? Or are you one and done on member guests?
I did get invited this year, but one of our members who's a member there, Chance hasn't invited me. So I don't know what I got to do to get the invite back with Chance.
So you got invited by the member, but not Chance?
I got invited by a member here that's a member at Whisper Rock.
Yeah. So you're doing it?
I couldn't go this year just because of some stuff going on here. I'm in for 2027, which is good. I'm going to get to do it again. Hopefully you'll be out there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully Illa keeps inviting me. So it's
that was fun. That was a great day.
I had a blast.
That was a fun day.
Well, thanks so much, Parker. You've done a hell of a job with Parker. We're a little different here in our little small golf operation, but we're having fun grooming them. So
that's awesome. He's a great dude. And I need to get up there too, because with Banks and Stewart going to be teammates, that I know that I was trading text with Al a couple nights ago. He's going to come down here when the weather's a little bit better. I want to come up and see what you guys are doing and go play. Maybe you and I can go play Stewart and Banks.
Let's do it.
There's no chance they can beat us.
No chance. No chance. It's over on the first tee.
I know who I can cover. I'll be in his head so fast he won't know what hit him. And you just take care of Stewart. Talk about something a little off right here, and we'll wear him out.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks so much. Holler when you're coming up here. We'll be in touch. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you guys.
Appreciate it.
See you.
Thanks,
Talk
guys.
soon.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye.